The RFM model is a great method to segment customers and give them a label based on their purchase behavior. It segments customers by recency, frequency, and monetary value, and it's extremely important for companies wanting to increase revenue and retention. To make use of this model, we first have to head over to pipelines, create a new pipeline, and drag and drop the data source we want to extract information from. The first step once in the pipeline is to prepare the data for the RFM algorithm. We must know the invoice date, the customer ID, and also the total amount of the invoice for each customer. And to see this information we have in our data, we can connect an operator like a custom SQL. As you can see, this invoice data contains information about the product, but we must aggregate it into a single row. Why? Well, as you can see, this invoice, for example, has 2 rows because there were 2 items purchased in one invoice. We should have only 1 row per invoice. It is also important to know that each column must have the correct format. So for example, a date must have a date format. And to solve this, we can aggregate data with the code editor. It depends how your data set is organized to determine how to aggregate it. There are also 3 important values here: the customer ID, the invoice date, and the sum of the invoice. They are important because we'll need these 3 columns for the RFM operator we will add to the pipeline later on. Our data is now prepared. Each row represents 1 invoice. For example, in this case, we can see this customer has 2 different invoices with the same amount. Now let's save our table. The next step we will take is to run the SQL query we just prepared. And then we can finally go ahead and prepare the data set for the RFM operator. This process is very simple. Drag and drop the RFM operator, go to Edit, and select the input table belonging to this data set. And then simply match each table to the 3 columns we need the RFM to read. The Spark configuration has several parameters. If you know how to set them up, or you need more, larger, or less missions, or even if you need to edit the Spark parameters, then this can be done here. But for this example, we will keep them as is. Now, let's save it and let's run our RFM operator. This operation usually takes 5 to 10 minutes, so we're going to speed this up. The operator signals it is ready with the green check mark. Now let's go and see the results. And to do so, we will use another custom SQL. You will see that by default, the table will set automatically to the RFM group so we can just run it. The table now shows us the results with the RFM for each user. And also we can see the labels assigned to each one. The criteria for each label can be found in our documentation page, which we have linked in the description below. Once we see the results, we can export it with APIs or send it as a CSV file, or use any of the actions available on the right panel. So let's do a quick recap. We can centralize different types of data like invoice and customer data in one place. Pipelines allow us to run the RFM models in seconds. And we can take actions from our outcome through APIs, CSV files, or any of the options on the right panel.